live. This ain't no team sports. This ain't no team sports. This is not team sports, folks. Just want to make that clear. Abundantly clear. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Going to talk about a few things. Maybe you heard the viral trend 4B. Maybe you heard of that. This is a movement right now. God bless you if you're going to take part of that movement. I don't know if that's the movement we need. We'll talk about that. We're going to talk about how this isn't team sports. In fact, I put a clip of George Carlin, the late, great George Carlin, from his 2006 Life is Worth Losing. Was that what this came from, that comedy special? That was the comedy special I had to stop watching because it just wasn't for me at that moment. And then we're going to talk about what is going on in Ohio. I couldn't believe this story was real, man. And then I was checking it again today, cross-checking it. A lot of places reporting on it. These spam texts, these spoof texts, I don't know what you call it. These texts being sent out to black folks in Ohio saying, you know, you're going to be rounded up, XYZ, crazy, crazy stuff. Link down below. If you're new here, though, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. Everything we plan to talk about, I try to link down in the description. And we have a Discord. You could join the Discord, link down in the description. But before we get into any kind of news, any kind of talking about team sports, I want to show you something. Look at that. That's a pumpkin babka. But what I really want to show you is what's hidden underneath it. What's hidden underneath it. The greatest pastry to come out of New England. How can I not show you that? Oh, there it is. A lobster tail. That's a lobster tail. Can you see that? There it is. Sorry about the bad camera work. That's a lobster tail. Filled with a ricotta sweetness, kind of cannoli, but not really. I think they put, I don't know what they put in it. Something addicting. Because good Lord, are those the best pastries. If you ever come to Massachusetts, now I can't close this box. Why are these pastry boxes like a Rubik's Cube? What the? Just let me shut the box, you mother. My apologies. The box is like a Rubik's Cube. There we go. Just slam it shut. Keep it nice and fresh. Slam it shut. All right. So yeah, if you ever come to Massachusetts, make sure you get a lobster tail. Not like a ocean spider. I'm not talking about ocean spiders. Not those kind of lobster tails. Lobster tails I'm talking about here in Massachusetts, they're pastries. And they kind of have the shape of a lobster tail. That's why I call them lobster tail, but they're filled with some kind of... What's my live about? About news. News commentary. It's a news commentary. What's up, Aaron the Prophet from Israel? Interesting long-ass name. But before we get into the news and the commentary, I was telling you guys that if you ever come to Massachusetts, get a lobster tail. Not the ocean spider. Not that ocean spider that crawls around on the ground. Disgusting animal. I don't know how we came to eat those. They're delicious in butter, but absolutely atrocious animal. When you think of like how we came to be like, oh, you see that spider crawling around on the ocean floor with the huge claws that could snap your finger off? Yeah, let's see how that tastes. I do not know how we got... I mean, it's baffling that humanity has made it this far when you consider we're eating ocean spiders. Gross. I don't eat crab. That's even grosser. That's a real ocean spider. 8 legs and just creepy looking. Yuck. But if you come to Massachusetts, get a lobster tail pastry. They're like a croissant in the shape of a lobster tail, but it's filled with some kind of ricotta, powdered sugar, vanilla goodness. I think they put like trans fats or whatever the worst kind of fats, whatever McDonald's uses to hook people. That's what they got to be putting in there because it is so delicious. You just can't say no. So grab a lobster tail. What's up, brother? You have a new subscriber. What's how the music in Massachusetts? What's how the music? Thank you for subscribing, Aaron. Um, I'm back with the milk. Odin Grief. Oh yeah, he's back. What's up with the music in Massachusetts? I don't know, man. Listen, let's be honest. The local scene, I was just talking, so where I get my lobster tail pastry and I got a pumpkin babka, it's a local shop. It's a local little pastry shop in Lynn, and I was just telling them that, like, because me and the lady behind the counter were conversing. I said, whenever I get paid, I try to come spend some of my money locally, because I hate that the only place we have to shop in America is like Walmart or Target or Costco from supersize shopping. And just like how shopping has gone the way of like you have 3 stores, I feel like local music is taking a real hit. And you can look at like the Ticketmaster thing, Ticketmaster ticket pricing and how they've kind of ran small venues out of the way. But I think it all has to do with like our communities are being decimated. Where the Italians at in Boston? In the North End? Is that a real question? By the way, the stuff they put in that is fat and sugar, which is also why we get more hungry. 100% Odin. And whatever they put in that, I'm telling you, the fat and sugar that they put in these lobster tails, good God. But if you could buy it local, you know what I mean? If it's locally made, then I'm okay. Spend a little bit of money on the fat and grease and whatever they put in it. You know what, Odin, real quick. So I had to take my son to an appointment the other day, and he was just begging to go to McDonald's. I hate spending money there because it's only going to certain people, not the workers. And the food ain't good, but once in a great while. But it always ceases to amaze me when we're in the drive-through line. How many can people regularly go to McDonald's? There was like 25 fucking cars. They had the double line all the way back around the thing. I can't believe how many people just go to McDonald's for lunch and dinner. Yo, if you're one of those people, why? Why? North End, nice. That was a real question. I'm Italian. Just want to know if they... Jesus Christ, Maya and the Mafia. My friend. No, there's still some enclaves in Boston. You got the North End. You got Southeast. Southeast's been gentrified. You got like Roxbury and Dorchester. There's a bunch of enclaves. But that's weird. Jesus. McDonald's is so expensive. That's what I love about people who say like, oh, if you raise the minimum wage, get ready for a $15 Big Mac. I'm like, kid, Big Macs already cost $10 here if you're just getting the sandwiches. $10 fucking to get one fucking Big Mac. And the minimum wage has not gone up. Federally, it's the same. We're not, if you want to look up how much McDonald's has inflated their prices over the past 5 years. It's over 100%, okay? And that's not because workers are getting paid more. Okay, so let's get into some news. But yeah, when you come to Boston or Massachusetts, if you go into the North End, by the way, where it's like the notorious Italian part of the city, if you're going to the North End, don't go to Mike's Pastry, okay? Everybody goes, it's like a tourist trap. Go around the corner. Go a couple streets back. It's a place called Bova's, B-O-V-A. Bova's has the best lobster tail pastry you've ever had. Like, there's something, if you're an addict, just be careful. I'm an addict, and good Lord, I can't stay away from those. If I'm even close to North End, I'm like, hey, we should just go to Bova's. I'll get like 14 of them. And they're open 24 hours a day too, Bova's. And Bova's does not sponsor me. Big Mac's, so small, not worth so much money. 100%. Big Mac is really the sauce, the Big Mac sauce that makes the Big Mac. But let's get into a little bit of news. Did you guys see about my Irish American? I'll just let you guess. What's up, Kevin? Good morning. Good to see you. The 4B. Let's go into 4B. I don't know if you've seen this viral thing that's going on. Nice to know. I'm taking me and my son's cross country. If you come cross country, go to Bova's, B-O-V-A. Look it up. Little hidden in the North End behind like the tourist main street. I forget what that main street is called. And it's literally like 2 blocks. You walk back there. Don't even drive through the North End. Like park outside the North End and walk through it. It's very small. Some cool spots. But go to Bova's. They're open, I think, 364 days a year. I think they close only on Christmas, and they're open 24 hours a day. So it doesn't matter. Like, we would get out of a baseball game or a basketball game. You go over to Bova's at 2 in the morning, they're open. You can get a rice ball arancini. You can get a stromboli. I usually get a stromboli, a rice ball, and 6 tier 70 lobster tails. Oh, there's something new about P. Diddy. I haven't read any P. Diddy news. Oh man, is there something new? I'm just kind of waiting. I watch all the court and crime TV on YouTube about the P. Diddy stuff to get updated. Yeah, that dude's president. You know, that's an amazing thing. So I don't know if you've seen this, link down below, but day or 2 days after the election in Ohio, a bunch of black folks getting text messages saying, you know, be prepared to be picked up. It's really heinous stuff. And that's one of the things that why Trump would never get my vote, but he emboldens. I mean, the dude was endorsed by the KKK, David Duke. I mean, the dude, he told the Proud Boys to stand by, you know, like that's the shit I could just never, ever, 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 I'll be saying ever for a long time, but ever like get behind or, you know, fucking stand parallel to. I don't know. But if you haven't seen that news, I highly suggest looking at it because I feel like a lot of these racist, fascist, authoritarian types have been emboldened. The funny thing is Trump got 3 million less votes than he did last time around. It's just how many less votes Kamala had. Identity politics at its greatest. This country's system sucks. A weird thing is how, like, you know, Trump even heading into the election was saying it's rigged, it's being stolen. He has a bunch of lawsuits that he was trying to pursue just in case. And all of a sudden, magically, I seen a clip of Joe Rogan saying, it's amazing how voting works. And I think it's amazing how stupid these fuckers are. Really, you got to be stupid to think like it's only not stupid, but you know what I mean? You got to be that entitled brat little kid mentality to think like it's gonna be rigged, it's gonna be rigged, it's rigged. There's a ton of rigging going on. Like Mike Lindell spending his fortune, his whole pillow fortune on, you know, lawsuits and everything's rigged. And amazing, this time it's not rigged. Like, why is it not rigged this time? How were all those instances that you guys said voting is messed up, not messed up this time? It's just so weird. To be honest, I'm probably moving out the country, just seeing how it goes with my... Listen, if I could move out the country, you know how hard it is to get citizenship in another country? Canada, I talked about this on another live stream. Canada figured out their country made insulin free and what was the other thing? Some kind of other product. I forget if it's like birth control or something. I forget. Forgive me. I talked about this on another live stream. But they said in Canada, whether you have the national healthcare system plan or private, they said the government will subsidize your insulin. And I thought, fuck, man, that's so freaking amazing that they're doing that for their people. And the other thing I wanted to address real quick, that's why I call this isn't team sports, because I keep getting people, not really on social media. I do be on the Twitter, even though that's a wasteland and a half. Elon Musk wanted to be an edgelord, and he certainly made Twitter a wasteland. But there are these people that think they're dunking on me by saying, like, Trump, we won, and, you know, just basically team politics, which it makes me sad to think people think this is a team sport. Politics is not a team sport. Politics is about advancing programs to help communities. Politics should not be about power, even though we know it is. We have the Republicans and we got Republicans light. That's all we have in this country. We got two parties that really act as one. And they all coincide to benefit the interests of the wealthy and their stock trading. And, you know, it's nothing for the working people. And I would like to direct you to, in the description, I posted a link of one of George Carlin's greatest bits where he says, it's a big club and you ain't in it. So if you've never seen that, I make all my kids, when they get to high school age, right before they graduate, I get them in the car and whether it's dentist appointments or doctor's appointments or going to sports or going after school stuff, I put on George Carlin and I say, you're going to listen to this. This is the education you need. I think that should, call me crazy, call me a radical, but I think before high school graduation happens, every kid should have to write a dissertation or some kind of remarks about all of George Carlin's albums. They should have to be fully listened to and broken down with their take on it. Whether they agree, disagree, whether it was funny, not funny. I think that should be part of the educational plan. So, but we're probably going to get rid of the Department of Education. Hey, what's up, Tarush? Good to see you, man. You in India, right? I was just watching this thing this morning on the Great Wall of China, which I could not believe. How remarkable is that wall? 1,500 miles. They said if it went from London, it would go from London to Moscow. And I thought, God damn, that's one thing you don't hear much about. But the Great Wall is a fascinating, fascinating feature of Earth. Definitely, that's why I'm seeing how it goes. You think Trump's going to be a dictator? Yeah, Europe provides free healthcare. And for all the people who go, yeah, but they pay with their taxes. Yeah, but they also have a better standard of living. Their life fucking span is not declining like here in America. We're already being taxed to death. And if you don't think it's bad yet with Trump's tax breaks that he gave the last time to all his rich friends and people like me and my wife, our taxes went up, it's going to get worse. I'd just rather see something from all the taxes I pay. I have no problem paying taxes. This is where people get real messed up. I have no problem. The same people that go Blue Lives Matter don't want to pay taxes. Well, how are the fucking cops going to get paid, you morons? How does that happen? How is that going to work? You want private police forces? You just want corporate America to run everything? It's funny because those same people think that they're voting for Trump against the elites. But if you look up how much of Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg's wealth went up after the election was finalized or the AP press called it for Trump, their net worth, their stocks boomed. So way to give it to the elites by making them wealthier. Nothing bad will come from that. You think Trump's going to turn into a dictator? Oh yeah, sorry. I don't know. What I hope for is no. What I hope for, like I said yesterday, because I think no matter what, everybody's kind of curious. What I hope for is that working people can work one job, buy a home, go on vacation, not worry about groceries or gas. I think Trump's tendencies and his history is to protect himself at all costs, to consolidate power, and to do whatever he can. Remember, he's a felon. I don't know if they're going to have to register, what is it, 1600 Pennsylvania Ave? What's the address of the White House? Does anybody know? I don't know if, you like my hat? My wife got this for me a long time ago. I figured it was appropriate to start wearing again. Even though it's almost 60 degrees in New England in November. It was 80 the other day. Jesus, something's wrong, folks. What was I just saying? Oh, whatever. What's the address for the White House? Does anybody know? Because does the White House now have to register on the sex offender list? The dudes are convicted. I'm not going to say all of it. I'm in Florida. It's always hot. Listen, my brother's in Florida. And he was like, I don't know if I want to deal with snow anymore. And I was like, bro, don't worry. It don't snow here anymore. In February, we maybe get like a little bit of snow and it's cold. But on Halloween, it was 80 degrees. 2 days ago, it was 80 degrees. Last night, it was 45, and now it's 60. You have to dress your kids for winter in the morning and then make sure they have their bathing suits on before they get out of school because it's 1600 Pennsylvania Ave. Well, he was convicted as a rapist, if you get what I'm saying. I don't know what YouTube will let me get away with. And now that the corporate elites get to control the country because there's a CEO at the helm, I just get worried about that. I don't think the corporate elites have the same vision for us working classes as some people think they do. So he is a convicted rapist. And usually when you're convicted of that stuff, you have to register on a list. So he called his own daughter hot, yeah. Florida's already crazy with the Florida man. Man, I'll tell you what, I was greened out. I'm sorry. I didn't do an election stream. I did a stream earlier than the election, but And this is our leader. That's right, man. By the way, if I haven't said this, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I go live 5 days a week. Today is Friday, I think. Who knows? I had hopes that we were going to turn America into a 3-day work week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, have 4 days off. You know, people only work one job and be able to get by, buy a house. This is what I want for America. I hope people want the same. I know there's 24-hour grind mentality, but you're a sucker. That's what the CEOs want you to do while they're in Ibiza on their 3 different yachts with helicopters flying them in. So that grind mentality, keep it there, suckers. But people I know that work truly very hard are barely getting by. Mike, well, Mike, this is the confusing thing to me, that these people that say Trump 2024 or Trump 2028, which is really weird, that they say, you know, Trump forever. They don't really talk about policies. And just tell me anything that you think he's going to do outside of immigration. Just anything. Do you have any concepts of a plan? You want to keep more of your money? Well, Mike, if you make less than $500,000 a year, your taxes went up when he implemented his tax. He's gonna get rid of overtime. So if you're used to working overtime, his plan for creating a whatever hour work week would essentially eradicate overtime. But again, you know, we'll see, because all I want is, yes, to work less, spend more time with family. I don't know many people that have died, and I know a lot of people that have died that are like, you know, before they died, they were like, God damn, if I could have just spent a few more weekends at the office. It's fucking crazy. If you take out your veins, you die. Oh, really? Yeah, I would imagine taking out any major organ, any major system of your body, you die. I was fortunate enough to have money left to me by my family. I can't sit back and watch people suffer going broke. Well, listen, both my parents died when I was real young, and all I was left with was thieves. So I've been homeless. I've been homeless while I was working on a #1 radio station in San Diego. I was living in my car. Thankful for very good friends. And this whole self-made, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Like, when I was making 6 figures, I was self-made. I had no fucking parents to help me out. I wasn't ever living at home. So I see, you have to pay real close attention to what's going on. And these people that talk about like they want their, no, I'm not saying you did, Mike. No. Mike, let me say this, even though we highly disagree that you can overlook Trump saying to the Proud Boys, stand by, and David Duke endorsing him, even though you can overlook that and I can't. I will say that I appreciate you saying no Trump 2028. I have heard people fucking say that. And that's why I labeled this isn't team sports, because really it's not red and blue. Those are 2 wings of the same bird. Really, what politics is to me, and hopefully it is to more people, is a way to advance society, community. If you look at what FDR did, again, I implore people, I wish they taught more history. FDR won, 4 terms in a row? And he was pushing socialist, what people fear-monger, socialist agenda. He's the reason we have Social Security. He's the reason we have the minimum wage. There's a bunch of amazing things that FDR did, and it was for the people. And that's what politics is. I've had people too, when I was working on radio in Boston, he was like, we need a president who's going to run the country like a business. And I always wondered, do those people understand businesses only operate for profit? That's it. A business, like the post office, is not a business. It can't operate for profit. It needs to operate as a service for people. That's why we pay taxes. The police should not operate for profit. The fire department should not be making a profit. These are services. That's why we come together and form these governments. And it's amazing to me that they think a CEO has anything in line with the worker. And we've just seen time and time again, if their ideologies match, then CEOs wouldn't be paid 3,000 times more than the median worker. But this country should not be run like a business. It's okay if we take losses, if our lifespan is going up, if people can buy homes, if you can afford groceries, if you could do all these things. I'm missing a lot of comments. I'm saying, hold on. One big thing we need is companies to cap out CEO pay 100%. Number two, we need to end corporate ownership of private property. Listen, Mike. See, this is the fascinating thing to me. Sorry, my hand's going a little numb holding it like this. Mike, that's the fascinating thing. Do you think a CEO, which Trump is, he just put his companies in a trust that are run by his sons. He's the CEO. Do you think Trump is the dude to fucking do that? Or do you think Trump's the guy to let the CEOs run wild? I genuinely want to know. I know the answer. I know Trump is not going to fucking rein in his lifestyle. He's the CEO, born and raised. Trump is a brand. He's not going to rein himself in. So that's why I wonder, like, what is the logic of, like, yes, I agree with we need to do that, but let's have a CEO be in charge of that shit. Like Lena Khan right now is doing amazing work going after these monopolies. Basically, that was one of the other bummers. Like, when I want to go shopping, there's no fucking more stores. It's Walmart, Target, Kohl's. That's it. CVS, Walgreens, and even those are closing. The logic is poor. Thank you, Cullen. Simple answer. Brilliant. 17 trillion more corporations under him now. I know. Lesser of two evils. Mike, never settle for the lesser of two evils. That's when people give up. As soon as you start saying lesser of two evils, essentially what you're saying is I'll protect the status quo. And this is why people label me as radical. Because, believe it or not, fuck the lesser of two evils. Believe it or not, fuck the status quo. Nobody ever got anywhere by saying, like, you know what, it's just kind of it is what it is. It's the best we have. If that was the truth, then in fucking 1776, those motherfuckers, the Sons of Liberty, would have been like, listen, you know what? Like, the king isn't so bad. The stamp tax, the fucking, these, you know what? It's like, no. The status is not the quo. So would you rather have the more evil option in Harris? I don't believe Harris is the more evil option, but I do think she is Republican light. You don't brag about Liz Cheney endorsing you if you're not Republican light. But I think Harris, and here's where you get into the rhetoric and the BS of it. Harris, I really had an issue with her tweeting last week that she was going to federally legalize cannabis, because I'm like, bitch, you said that 4 years ago. Why aren't you doing anything? You expunged a couple records from federal criminals that didn't exist in the jails because they're usually all state crimes if you're going to jail for cannabis. So it's like they do this whole fucking three-card Monty. Where's the ball? Where's the ball? Where's the ball? You know, we'll find it as soon as you vote for us. And it just don't work. Again, like Bernie Sanders could have solved all this shit. These are things implemented with other governments, like somebody was saying in the chat earlier, sorry if it was Mayan, the Mafia, or Odin, that like Europe has figured out Medicare for all, universal health care. They have figured out how to look at what Italy does. I think Italy workers get 4 weeks off a year. Like, this is shit that's very attainable. But we have unbridled capitalism ruling both the Democrats and the Republicans, and on top of that, they're just having a free-for-all. I mean, the Democrats kind of pretend to rein it in a little, but I'll tell you what, it's not about lesser of two evils here. It's about pushing for something totally different. That's the mindset. Because Mike, if you can even say like CEO needs to be capped, their pay needs to be capped, which I had a boss when I worked in radio here in Boston. He would say, oh, so you want to cap how much people make? And it was a hard question to answer, especially in a very alt-right universe. But I always thought, if we have a minimum wage, why can't we have a maximum wage? And if your workers, like at Walmart, the Waltons, if most of their employees are having to go to food stamps or whatever and using the system, but these people are building, you know, however many yachts that their family has, I don't know, but I know I read a story about one of the Waltons' yachts the other day, then yes, I think there should be a cap, you know? And FDR agreed with me. He said, if your business has to survive if your business survives on the exploitation and people not being able to survive in the country, then your business should not exist. When you take on 15 mil per year, and your ground floor makes 25, yes. Yeah, and that's what, I mean, and that doesn't even seem crazy, but again, some people will call me a radical for that. Hold on, Seha, what's up, man? Haven't seen you in a long time. We spend half our GMP on weapons. Listen, that's the other thing. The military budget is out of control. We're not going to even touch that because I think everyone can agree on that. Um, but the stuff like that, like, there's a huge difference when you're taking home, like, so let's say where I work, okay? The coffee company, the national coffee company that eradicates the little local stores in your hometown. They just fired the CEO, gave him a $60 million parachute, golden parachute. They let him go and gave him $60 million. This guy tanked the fucking company for 2 years. He wasn't even there for 2 years. I don't know many people that can tank at their job and get that much money to leave. This is how it's a big club and you ain't in it. George Carlin, I linked the article, the video down below. Highly recommend you watching that after this. George Carlin education all on its own. Maybe I'd just start a school of George Carlin classes. But the new CEO that they brought in to this green colored mermaid coffee company is making $100 million contract. $100 million contract, okay? He didn't want to move to Seattle, so they're letting him use the private jet. You can look this up on Google. Google AI now will show you exactly the details of his contract. They're giving him the private jet to fly from California, because he was working at Chipotle, to Seattle to work. He's taking a fucking private jet to work, paid for by the company. They ain't paying me for my drive-in. In fact, in Massachusetts, at this coffee company, we make $16.47 an hour, but because I have to get healthcare, and pay for that fucking healthcare that I can't even afford to use, by the way. I can't even afford my deductibles. My $16.47 turns into about $4 an hour. So that's the system we live under. And people tell me, oh, just not financially responsible. You fucking morons. I can't afford a car at $4 an hour. My wife's working 2 jobs. She's a nurse at 2 different places. This is the America we live in. So why is it that people don't want to, but Mike does, I'm saying Mike does, but why don't we want to cap those $100 million people when I'm making $4 an hour? I can't even afford to fucking use money. I don't even have money after I go grocery shopping for my kids and stuff to use my healthcare. I can't even use the thing that I'm paying for. And there's a huge difference. This is what I was getting at. There's a huge difference between these CEOs, $100 million or $60 million after you do a bad job and they fire you. You're not worried about the heat, electricity, rent, food, gas, none of that shit. You especially worrying about gas if they're sending a private jet for you every day to take to work. But the people who are making $4 an hour like myself are. And the funny thing is people yell at me, that's not legal. They can't pay you $4 an hour. I said, how long have you worked for a job? What kind of job do you do? Because listen, I was making 6 figures a year in radio, okay? I was making $100,000 a year. And they still took a shitload out from my health care, which was still brutal to afford. But this is how our system works. When you have to pay for insurance, they take it out, and they take it out before they take out taxes. So last year I actually owed taxes because they said, hey, you made this much a year, but we didn't get taxes for this 60% of it. And I owe the government because the health insurance takes out taxes first. I always tell kids, if you want to understand what the healthcare system is like in America, imagine you join a gym and you pay monthly. You have to join a gym and you pay monthly, right? You're paying $100 a month to go to the gym. But then you want to actually physically go in the gym and you go on the treadmill and they go, the copay for the treadmill is $30. And you go, yeah, I got to pay to go on the treadmill. They go, yeah. And then we got to, if you use the treadmill and then you want to go get a shake, they go, oh, we got to call an outside source to see if you're approved for that. And then we'll see how much you pay for that. It's a fucking scam. And the horrible thing is that other countries have figured this out. Like I just said, Canada has made insulin free for everyone, whether you have private or public health care. This is something that's doable. So the lesser of two evil shit needs to go. We need to start organizing together and form communities. Mike, I appreciate you rapping. Bro, I need to find a new job. I have no car. So I can go through my whole story, but listen, hey, good talk, Rob. Oh, you need to get going. Shit. So I didn't see this, Mike. Sorry, man. I hope you subscribe and come back. Hit the notification bell because I do go live every weekday to do live commentary. News commentary, but I also if anybody plays Fortnite, I'm up on Fortnite. I try to live stream once in a while. But Mike, I appreciate you coming in here. This is what Americans need to do. We need to be talking, and that makes you a true American patriot. Oh man, that's nice to hear. I never hear that. I usually get called a communist, socialist, a radical, and I don't really care. You can call me whatever you want. Fucking, you know, it's not gonna hurt my feelings. Good morning, man. What's up, Mohammed Salam New Faris? I hope I said that correct. I'm very sorry if I didn't. I watch the animes. Back in here. Yeah, no duh, doofus. Who doesn't want to be filthy rich? The point is, it's unfair. 90s, 3 financial crises ago. Yeah, that's the other thing. Listen, how many fucking bailouts can we give to these banks? Meanwhile, the people who were like paying student loans for 40 years, they're like, invest in the people. We're all Americans, all in it together. Chucktown Jimmy. Chucktown Jimmy. That sounds like a country song. Chucktown Jimmy. Man, 4 hour, my lord. I feel for you. Yeah. It sucks. And listen, this is why, listen, people have argued with me, and I get it, because if you don't understand my story, my history, where I come from, it's easy to say, like, get another job, go do this. But I worked in the industry for 20 years in morning radio, right? Had a successful career. I came to Boston. They brought me out here. I helped make #1, and I didn't realize the show I got on was racist, extremely racist. In fact, since I've been fired or let go, they didn't renew my contract. Since that's happened, they've had 2 national incidents where they've called people racial slurs, and they're still not fired. And this dude's very wealthy, and he knows very wealthy people, so he's obviously protected. So I ended up losing my job. I had a very successful career, and because I go push against the status quo, I'm not very favorable. That's why I do my show here. But through that, like, I lost everything. You got to understand, so my parents died when I was really young. My brothers were like 15 and 16. I was 22. So I didn't have parents to go back, like so many people, like even my boss, he claims to be self-made, but he lives with his parents. He still lives in the same town he's always fucking lived in. His grandparents owned racehorses. His parents were extremely wealthy. And they like to claim the self-proclaimed, pull myself up by the bootstraps, but people like me who really have fucking grinded it out, I don't want to brag about that or throw that in anyone's face. Like, fucking, my work speaks for itself, and I do a good job when I'm in radio. That's fucking what I did for my living. So I didn't have anything to fall back on. So it got really hard. And I'm talking about, I've been homeless, I've lived in cars, I've lost my car when I lost my job. And thankfully, we've had people to help us the whole way to kind of rebuild. And now my wife's working 2 jobs. I'm working this job essentially just for healthcare. But it's just not so simple. And if you know anything about the fucking used car market right now, or just buying a car right now, it's fucking, cars are insane. And without a car, we have no public transit that's reliable. Okay? And then you talk about childcare that's insanely unaffordable. And then you talk about, I can't just get any job because I have to make sure I put in a certain amount of hours at this job so I can maintain my health care, because other jobs that offer health care will offer it after a year of employment, which I can't go for a year of I can't go for a year without health care. Number 1, because we'll get penalized on our taxes. But number 2, because I have 2 children with pre-existing conditions. So there's a lot to my story. We had a Boston Rob here in Chucktown back in the day. Was that you? What's Chucktown? I don't mean to be ignorant, but I don't know what Chucktown is. It sounds like a delicious place to get some steak sandwiches, though. I will tell you that. Heavenly Star Halam. Hey, what's up? Good to see you. Good to see you. My parents died when I was young, too. Hard life. Yeah, well, and that's the thing that people don't consider. Charleston. Oh, are you serious? My brother and I have been looking at the Carolinas, I shouldn't call them North Carolinas, the Carolinas, to move to. I have some questions for you. Hey, is Charlestown where, what's his name? Eastbound and Down. What's his name? McBride. Something McBride. Is that where he set up his new movie studio? If you know. A racist radio show. Sounds like Trump show. Listen, they endorse Trump. There's a huge car dealer guy named Ernie Bach. His dad made this huge car dealership, so he was born a billionaire, and now he just runs it. And he had Trump over his house in 2016 as a support thing to raise money for him. Go figure. But yeah, it's them. Yesterday was your birthday. Happy birthday, Heavenly Star. So you are a Scorpio. I know that, right? Because I am a Sagittarius. So very happy birthday to my Scorpio friend. Yeah, he lives there, right, Chucktown? Because if you don't know, what's his name? Something McBride. Danny McBride, who did Eastbound and Bound. If you haven't seen his movies or Vice Principals or The Righteous Gemstones, holy shit, his comedy is so on point. But instead of living in Hollywood, you could look this up. I wish I had a link down below. Danny, thank you. Oh, Mayan, happy birthday to you. A lot of November birthdays. Here we go. But I'm a Sagittarius, the best sign of all. So, he is hilarious, and his whole little team is hilarious. But I was reading about how instead of staying out in Hollywood, I think his little clique is from the Carolinas. They basically built out a little movie studio so they could film and do everything in the Carolinas, which I think is where they filmed The Righteous Gemstones, which is just brilliant, which I'm like, man, make Hollywood go to you. When you have that kind of money, this is where people made so many mistakes. And these big stars, you saw like certain people start to do it, make their own labels, like Suge Knight, did Death Row. Those were the innovators. But I always loved Danny McBride for that, because to make Charlestown, I mean, I'm sure he's providing so many local jobs. He's probably helping the local economy. I just love that about Danny. Look like Frost from Blade. Oh man, I'm gonna have to watch Blade again. Corey Walton. Gonna make me watch Blade again? That's on Sunday, Cook. November 10th. Cookie B. Oh, happy birthday then. Wait, we're in November, right? Yeah, we are. I just keep forgetting because it's 60 fucking degrees in New England. My Jesus. Jesus, Murphy. They've been filming a lot down here. Several movies and TV shows get shot down here. He is what's up, Groot? Good to see Groot. Everybody, Groot in the chat. Chucktown Jimmy. I think they're coming out with another. I don't know if you've seen Righteous Gemstones. If you have not, you'll thank me later. Please watch it. One of the funniest shows. But I think they just finished filming another. Heavenly Star Halam speaks Groot. I am Groot. I think they filmed another season of it down there. But when we were looking at the Carolinas, because my brother moved from Massachusetts to Virginia to try and buy a home. In Virginia, they were looking in the Carolinas. Then he went down to Florida. It fell through in Florida. And Florida housing is just a crisis in itself. You can't get home insurance or nothing. So now he's been looking back up in the Carolinas, Virginia area. But it looks beautiful. I've never been to the Carolinas. It's next on the list. Seen 2 episodes. Yeah, you got to watch the whole thing. And you're lucky. I love coming into a show late when like all the seasons are already up and you just go right through it. I just did that with Trailer Park Boys again. Florida is brutal, man. Brutal right now. So my brother's looking to get out of Florida again. But he just wants to buy a home, And that used to be like a thing people did. And now, I don't know. It's a bummer. But Chucktown Jimmy, I hope you hit subscribe and the notification bell, because I'd like to talk to you more about the Carolinas. Because I don't know. I'm very fascinated. I do know that Venus flytraps are native to the Carolinas, which I did not know that. You learned something from this live stream. The Venus flytraps grow in the swamps, or not the swamp. I forget what it's called. Fascinating plant. I love those plants, and I thought they were like exotic from like the Philippines or something. Looked it up. No, Carolinas. That's an American plant. Isn't that awesome? I'm sure Chucktown Jimmy knew that. But in Vancouver, there's a lot of stuff being filmed. Yeah, Vancouver usually gets a lot of work. Vancouver and Georgia. Leesburg, Florida. Nice little town, battle drug and homeless. Oh man, that's horrible to hear. And that's the other thing with the drugs and the homeless. The solution isn't to criminalize it. The solution, and if you want a good book, again, I have a Discord for the channel, link down below. I put recommendations in there. There's a great book by Dutch historian Rutger Bregman called Utopia for Realists. I bought it from my best friend. I bought it from my brother. This is a gift I give. It's like a $10 book, easy read. And he displays and he cites all these examples of times they've almost eliminated homelessness. I think one was in like Colorado, and they did it by just providing free housing to get people back on their feet. It's like me, like I need a car, but I can scramble and do everything. Oh, somebody just joined the server. Awesome. Thank you for joining the Discord. I'm half Canadian. I go to Vancouver sometimes. I want to go to Vancouver so bad. So bad. The Pacific Northwest is on my list of things to do. And I think the Carolinas is now too. So listen, I got Elvis Presley in the house. I knew you weren't dead. I knew it. Keep away from them toilets, homie. Please go in the summer. Yeah, well listen, the Pacific Northwest has my 3 favorite animals: crows, orcas, and wolves. So before I fucking kick the bucket and in the dirt, I want to see a orca up close in the wild, not at SeaWorld. I would like to go somewhere close to wolves. Again, I've seen live wolves once. And ravens. I love ravens. I'll be there. Well, if I ever get to do that, because again, America is getting tighter and tighter. That's the other thing. I talked about this yesterday. Elon Musk is telling working class Americans to get ready for financial hardship. How fucked is that? One of the wealthiest men in the world, who just after the election got hundreds of millions of dollars richer, is telling us to fucking tighten our bootstraps. Fuck that dude. That makes me so angry, because it's like, I would love to say I could plan a vacation to go to Vancouver. That used to be a thing, people. Never accept the lesser of two evils. Let's create our own future. This is America. We could do it. Fuck these people. I've seen a crow. One of them stared at me. I love crows. I feed crows. Be nice to crows. They will remember you for a long time. What was it? Alaska or no, University of Washington did a study with crows. And they found out that crows will teach the younger generations for at least up to 3 generations who is mean to them and who is nice to them. So I like arcades. I need to go fund me for a trip to the fair. I hear you. I hope it's a Renaissance fair. Good luck with that. Mayan Mafia. All right, guys. I got, oh, shit, this has been 45 minutes. That is a much longer live stream than I thought. Maybe I'll go live again this weekend. Please help me get more to 7 million subscribers. I always say that because Philly DeFranco does like a news commentary, but he doesn't do it live. He records it, and it's kind of like for tweens. This is a more adult channel. But hit subscribe and then hit the notification bell. That way you'll get notified when I go live, because I love these discussions. I love finding out about Charlestown. I didn't know they called it Chucktown, but that's funny as hell, and now I see why. Charles Chuck. When I said Chucktown, I envisioned some like old Western town where there are good steak sandwiches. I don't know why, but that's what I seen. There's a good one in Vancouver. Ooh. And I love finding out about different places. Oh, and the other thing is I'm talking to my friend Darine, who is in France. Me and her have been communicating on the Discord. Link down below if you want to join the Discord. We got great stuff in there. And I'm going to have her on, I think, in the next week or so. She comes on and joins me live, and we talk about everything. What's going on in France, what's going on in America, our takes on things. We're going to discuss how they celebrate Halloween in France, how they look upon the paranormal, because I was curious, and me and her didn't get to go live together before Halloween, so we still have those paranormal conversations to get to. And so I'm trying to plan on that. And I'm also trying to plan on another friend of mine who does a morning radio show here in Boston, a pirate radio show. God, I love it. This is my brother right here. My brother VOG, I'm trying to get him to come on live too. So I'm trying to get some guests to come on, and it would mean the world to me if you hit subscribe and hit the notification bell. And if you'd like, join the Discord. Again, George Carlin, it's a big club and you ain't in it, I linked a YouTube video to that in the description. Now that I'm ending the live stream, that is your homework. Go and watch George Carlin. It's a big club and you ain't in it. Groot Pirate, I'm back. I'll be back. He's back. Pirate Radio, great movie too, by the way, but it's a pirate radio station, though it is a legal one. Maybe I'll have him tell that story, because it's fascinating. I love him and I love what he does, and he's a great voice, and I think it's important to hear from him right now too, so I'm looking to try to get him on. But thank you guys so much for hanging with me, and hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll be back Monday, maybe this weekend, but you only know if you hit the notification bell. Peace, much love and respect.